I'm back. Hey, excuse us, guys. Let's get rolling with this so we can get moving. Thanks for your attention. Obviously, you know me, but I am trying to get my principal's license. The more I spend time with Ms. Henry, the more respect I have for her and the less I really want to finish this license. But, you know, you learn to finish what you started, so I'm being a trooper on this. Initially, what I'm going to do is pass around the sign-in sheet. That way I don't have to write anybody up. Matt, I had to write you up last time. It was a little embarrassing on my end, but so good. No, I'm just kidding. Pass that around if you guys wouldn't mind. I remember the day when I didn't have to use these, so try to be patient with my reading glasses. First of all, before we start, I want to try to be as much as Mr. Henry as I can. Let's start talking celebrations. Anybody got celebrations? We got some academies, 7th and 8th. Anybody? Something that we're happy about? Yes, it's Wednesday. Yes, we're back. How about this one? It's nice and cool in here, right? Guys, I was thinking I was going to be 30 minutes of sweat, and you guys could laugh at me. So my celebration is it's very nice and cool, so I appreciate that. I know I cut somebody off, and I'm sorry. Celebrations, anybody?
I was just going to say the fact that we're back in the building and
Yes,
we've had
ma'am.
another almost full 2-week period where it doesn't seem to be any continuous heating issue.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. And you know what? I think all of us feel the same way. As soon as we got the text that we're back at school, a little bit of mixed emotions, right? I know our bosses are here, but let's be honest. But it is hard. I think you guys probably all notice the same thing. It was a little bit difficult getting everybody back in the flow. The kids came and almost expected at about 11:30 to be called out. Once they realized they weren't, it was time to get back to work. So you're right about that. Anybody else?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
Someone actually complained yesterday that my room was too warm. Kind of like unheard of.
You know what? That is pretty cool until I walked into Jamie's room this morning and I echoed the sentiment. So it can get a little bit warm, but it's a lot better than it was before. You're right about
Absolutely.
that. Thank you. Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
The 9th grade team, and I think some other grade levels, rolled out the 7 habits of highly effective teens this week, and it's been going well so far.
Very cool. Very cool. Good job. I will say this, one of the habits they were talking about, synergy. You guys remember that? And that's one of our Roosevelt words of the week this past week. So when the sophomore group, they all came back today and said, Coach, did you see the word synergy? So I think they thought I was making up vocabulary words, but I actually am covering something that they might run into. So I felt a little bit proud for whoever wrote synergy in one of those books for me. I appreciate that. Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
Last Saturday was the first day of Saturday school. Wait.
Hang on, Murph. We got 10 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah, Cheeks was.
Let her go. That's
Last
okay.
Saturday was the first day of Saturday school. We had a great turnout for junior.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And Jay kicked some tail on that one. That's exactly right. I'm sorry, Murph, you're up, man. That's all right.
Thank you, Panther family.
Hey, there you go. Lots of good stuff there. Celebrations from the administration. Ms. Perry and Ms. Brown for working hard to make sure count day and reporting are timely and accurate. So let's give it up. Thank you. And Ms. Greer and Mr. Bibbs for their creative use of student-created pamphlets. So let's give it up to them. Very good. Okay, real quick, let's talk some important dates before we get started. Ms. Henry shared this with me yesterday in PD, but just to recap for those that did not attend or didn't hear. February 5th, IDOE observations. So let's make sure we're on our best behavior on that day. Also, March 4th, IDOE will be here for an all-day visit. So it's not like we're catnapping, but on those days especially, make sure that you're on your toes. Okay, especially the guys in the gym. Wow. Huh? And then March 24th and April 15th, you might want to write this down. Those will be our makeup days for the days that we missed because of the cold. So March 24th, April 15th will be used as makeup days. Everybody got that? You didn't look too happy when I said that, but that's not too bad though. And then finally, guys, progress reports will be issued on February 12th. So make sure that you are posting, keeping your grades up to date. February 12th, we'll be issuing progress reports. And last thing you want to do is be called in by the boss that you didn't post your stuff correctly again. So make sure we're on top of that. As far as the grade book goes, we were going to work on that today, but Ms. Henry is going to email you guys. The grade book was, the training was moved to Friday during our PD, and you'll get an email from Ms. Henry regarding that, especially the ones that probably need the most work on that one. So make sure that you're attending on that. We do want to talk about some of the evaluations, spring evaluations, professional attributes rubric review. We're also going to talk about the goals that we sent to the administration, our goals for the year, and then the power themes, A and B, for the instructional staff only. So make sure that we are up on that. I do want to pass these out. I probably should have done that a little bit earlier, but if somebody could help me out. You should get 2 sheets, the rubric and the scenarios. Anybody see that?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody get both sheets? Hey guys, read the following scenario sheet to yourselves. There are 3 scenarios. Give you about 10 minutes. I know some of you guys read it immediately and right away thought of what you're going to say. Give it a little bit of thought, about 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll get together. You can share with a buddy, and then we'll share some ideas with the group. So do the best you can. If you have any questions, let me know. Brought up an idea right off the bat. Is that cool, Tim? You good?
So what we do, Mary has issues, right? So what do you do? I'm sorry, what?
Oh, the counselor.
Yeah, we're the counselor. And so how do we respond to Mary returning 2 students for that? We feel that's the case. empathetic to it, that will follow the teachers to respond.
That second one is like this. Sorry, I didn't get it cheap. That's it. That's what plans or whatever.
He's got to get back to Wow, the next that came, you signed to the grade book, those grades are really, well, first, okay. So what do you do? Do you have a grade for it? Well, you shouldn't really go that long. Right. So the thing is, there's an opposite scenario, right? Where there are students who have been on my grade.
Oh, yeah.
And they're still there. They're not going to they've been there since the beginning of the year.
Right. And I do let them know.
I write in there, transfer, not.
I still do. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Because I like that.
I keep putting in comments.
Yeah, I have the comments.
There's a Tyrese Rancher. I've never seen Tyrese.
Yes.
He's still on my roster.
He was on my roster.
Is he still on your roster?
He's still on, but he's able, and until they know where he is, they can't take him off.
Well, we need to find him.
Once they find him, that's the hard part. Once they find him, then they can designate where he is so it doesn't count against us. As soon as you drop it from your computer,
Right.
that counts against our school grade.
Oh.
So that's a catch-22. You gotta keep it till you locate him.
Well, the truancy thing is good too. I don't think
Right.
that's a good thing.
Yes.
Because then it, you know. Are you the media person today?
He's helping coach out so he can have validation of that he actually led a meeting.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You need documentation.
I gotta load it and post it and the whole thing for my practice.
So do you want?
Do that.
So what we'll do at the end, we'll be like, he did a great job.
See that?
See that? Great questions, Coach. Number 2 seems way too weird. Number 1 seems way too weird. Oh man. Oh well, it makes it seem like it's a real teacher.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So one of your colleagues is going to the story, and then if it's a sub.
Because I don't know, they wouldn't make that, they wouldn't hear it. I wouldn't do anything in there.
Right, right. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, we about ready? All right, let's pay attention up to the front. We probably have seen enough of these scenarios to be able to do this in our sleep, but it's good to look at it and then to kind of talk it up a little bit. Scenario 1. Anybody got any good ideas, good thoughts to help out with the group? Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Richards, I think the first thing is you want to show empathy towards the student to let them know that you're concerned.
I agree with that.
And that, whatever issue it might be, that it could be that there's a misunderstanding. You want to put the student at ease for whatever the concern may be, but then also reassure them that you're going to look into what the issue is.
Outstanding.
I would then follow up with both the student and the parent, because if the student had communicated that to the parent, I would also let the parent know that, yes, your child did come in, did express some concerns. I wanted to let you know that I did go and talk to the teachers in regard to this, and here is what I discovered. So it would be sort of 2 phone calls to the parent, one to let them know that they came in, and then what action was taken to remedy that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Respond in a timely manner. Even if it's not always the response they want, if you do it in a timely manner, it's going to kind of appease them a little bit until you can get to the bottom of it. That's anybody else? That's a tough one to follow, I know. Wow. I don't blame you. I like that one a lot. Okay, scenario 2. This one kind of hits a little bit more home, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Anybody got any thoughts? Without putting us in a tough trick bag here, huh? Come on now, I know we've all done this.
I'll take it.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay, I think to be politically correct with this, I think as the teacher, you have to make sure that you keep your professionalism at all times. Because I've had this happen to me a few times. I'll come back and it's just chaos. I mean, more than it usually is when I'm in there. But you have, and I'm just being realistic about how I think about this. When we discuss this, it wouldn't be a point at this point. I'm back. I'm the teacher. No point of us arguing about anything. Take it to the correct authorities and let administration know, because it could go one or the other way.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I think what you said there at the end is the best thing. We're all on the same side. We're all here for the same reason. That could have been a heck of a lousy day for that sub the day before, and maybe that's just as good a job as they could have done. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Well, we were kind of confused whether it was a sub or a teacher, because a colleague would be different than a sub.
In a way, you're right. In a way, if it is a teacher, it's even kind of more so. I guess it's like somebody answering the phone and answering it rudely and say it wasn't for me anyways. And so you almost want to say to your colleague, hey, I appreciate it, but if you're going to do it right. But I kind of like what Murph said. Rather than even taking that stance, maybe just let the water go down and talk to Miss Henry and move on and see if we can't fix it. Yes, sir.
Depending on the situation, it might not have been a planned absence. It could have been a family emergency. So in certain instances like that, you just don't know things happen.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And that brings up a good point, because obviously, the sooner you can call off, the more preparation the administration has to find somebody that isn't going to be as hurried, maybe as stressed, someone that has a lighter schedule, someone that it might be easier for them to take it at that time, and then you're not walking back in that situation. So, could be on both sides. Obviously, needs to probably let emotions go away before you even have the conversation. But yes, I definitely think if it's not an emergency, you call off at a much more timely fashion, and the administration has a chance to get somebody in that isn't feeling like they've been thrown in, and this is good enough because I got a heavy load myself. Yes, ma'am.
Well, as the teacher, you would have to reflect on, did you leave proper instructions?
Right.
No. Okay. Proper instructions for the sub, because as a former sub, I know that I would go into classrooms that were just crazy with no directions or anything. So
Without a doubt.
you just have to reflect on your own actions to make sure that you left everything in place.
Right, absolutely. And I think, like we were saying, emotions will get the best of us, and once we say something, it's hard to take it back. So all this stuff is good, and it's usually said best after a deep breath and a cup of coffee, and everybody feels a little bit better about themselves. Scenario 3, anybody? Who's got a good one? So like the kids, we got to 1 and 2 and said that was enough, huh? Guys, I'll be honest with you, I was guilty of this. I'll share my story with this. I got to a point where you know every kid, and you go to your grade book and you just write down who was absent. And you don't even think about who was present. You just write down who was absent. And if I see Cam Newton, even though he's playing this Sunday, and he's in my class, every day I see him, and he's not absent, I'm not looking for his name to put an A on it. And so I went 3 weeks until Ms. Tasleen so nicely reminded me that I have to look at who's present as well, because I had somebody else's student in my gym. But because I knew his name and I wasn't looking for his name to see absent, I kept him for 3 weeks and then realized he wasn't supposed to be in my class. So then you realize, I guess you're right. I'm not just marking who's absent, I'm also marking who's present. And that's just a different way of looking at it. Hopefully I'm not the only one that was going to say I had a scenario for that. Or I guess I am.
No, you're not.
Thanks, man. I'll tell you what, this guy's saving me. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Anybody got anything? Yes, ma'am.
I would not tell.
Listen, other than this is being videoed, I appreciate it.
I would be afraid to tell.
No, I mean, I guess I would have to just, suck up the consequences because the child has to give a grade. But I don't understand. After 10 weeks, you signed into the grade book. Were you giving the child grades? Like
I was.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm assuming this, I'm hoping this wasn't about me. But at that point, I was giving him tests, I was giving him scores, I was evaluating him, and then I go in to put the grade. Of course, I didn't get to that point. But if I did, if she had said, okay, post his grade, then I go in all his scores, they're all documented, then you go to put them in, and that person's not even on your report card. And so you realize that. Yeah, so that's probably a tech problem. So sorry about that, guys. Whoever's got the 10 last places, right? I don't think so. Oh, Antoine's sitting there. Okay. So, but hey, thank you for the participation and the enjoyment. I'm going to turn the rest of the meeting over to Ms. Henry and try to give her the same attention.
Good job, Coach.
Hey, thank you guys.
It is not an easy task planning for a staff meeting, especially when your principal has been on conference calls all day.
I thought she was messing with me because on Monday I said, "Now, I'm going to get an agenda, right?" She goes, "Yeah." So Tuesday I kind of emailed her and said, just want to make sure I get that agenda. So then I text her too. It's like it's like when you're in high school and you keep asking the same person out and they keep blowing you off, right? So I'm like, okay. So I popped into her room today. I go, am I going to get an agenda? She said, oh, you're going to get it. So I walked out and said, she's messing with me. She wants to see me sweat a little bit, so I sweat a little bit.
And you have about 46 days until spring, whatever it is, but the point is really close to the end of the school year, right? And so we see the kids have cabin fever. They are, even though they've been off forever, but they have cabin fever. The seniors are stressed out. 8th and 7th graders, they just want to do something fantastic. And the reality is some of this shows up in the staff and the adults as well, okay? And so I want to really reinforce two things, okay? We are all adults, and it is important that you communicate with your colleague as an adult. They are not your child, they are not your student, okay? There's a difference between being serious and firm and, really passionate about whatever it is you're talking about versus belittling someone or berating them, okay? That's number one. Number two, I've always encouraged you all to handle things on the lowest level first. You have to give that person the opportunity to address whatever issue that you had with them before you bring it to myself or another administrator. That's just, you will want someone to pay you that respect, and so you should do the same for them as well. And then the last piece is, you know, really just being aware. You know, things move so fast all around here all of the time. I think I was just sharing with Ms. B. Maybe it was the SAS team, for the SAS team. A lot of the frustration we experience is because, you know, all of a sudden there's a budget cut or something, you know, something crazy. But in this fast-paced school building that we have, and ever-changing, fluid school building, you have to be aware. So when it comes to things such as the grades, we have to be aware of that. Those are transcripts. These kids move in and out of this school building all of the time. They may be here this week and come and leave and then come back 3 weeks later. But if we're not aware, we're really jeopardizing and messing with their grades and their transcripts. So we have to be aware of those things, okay? I think before we know it, really we're going to be at spring break. But it's important that you all don't go cuckoo. And if you are having a moment, you just woosah. If you have a person that is a confidant, then I would really be selective about who that confidant is if you don't know how to approach someone. But handle it on the lowest level first before you involve an administrator, because once you involve an administrator, it really does go to a totally different level because of the professional attributes rubric that was handed out. Things can get a little messy, okay? So do that, have the respect to talk to that person first, one-on-one, okay? Any questions? No? If you have not signed the sign-in sheet, or if you, if you didn't sign the sign-in sheet, Coach Richards is writing you up. So make sure that you sign in, and have a good night, everybody.
Hey, can I do real quick?
I'm sorry, what?
Keep it going.
Sure, absolutely, yeah, you got it.
Tim, I'm gonna. No, she made them up, and I appreciate it because they fell right into me.
Miss Ford, Miss Ford, Catrice.
Hey, Mr. Richards, can I follow up with you about the meeting?
Appreciate that very much.
I got a question for you regarding part number 3. You know, some of the things I think that I find the most difficult is, you know, when we have this issue about students not being present, I think that maybe some of the issues are related to the fact that we actually spend, we overemphasize the electrical piece, the electronic piece.
So, you know what? Hey guys, who still has the sign-in sheet? It's over there, guys. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. No problem. But I think because of the way we have such a focus on the electronic piece, I find it difficult that something like this would happen because, you know, we rely so heavily on it. But I understand that we try to have 2 modes, you know, because you can't always rely on it. You want to have the paper side, so you want to back
And
it
here's
up.
another scenario. I have health and wellness, but a couple of the kids are in that class that don't need health and wellness, but they need physical education.
Oh, got it.
So if you, on your grade book, there's a second page. If you have kids in that class in a different section. So I'm grading this kid all year, and then when I go to put him in, he's not. So I'm looking all for, well, how can I give him a grade? And then I did not even know that there was a second page to the grade book under a different section. Same class, same period, different section. So this is a scenario we put in there for that, because you don't look at the grade book closely. You know, you get to know your kids. You just do a once through who's missing. You go in, you write down who's missing, and you go. And you don't realize that 5 or 6 days into the grading period, that kid was switched into her class. And you don't catch it because he's always here.
He's always here all the time. You don't know that he should have been someplace else.
And then the second scenario, we have a lot of teachers that get up at 6 o'clock, not feel good, and then at 6:30 call in. So then an admin has about an hour to find somebody to throw them in. Well, that person called off at 6 o'clock, so they're obviously not going to have lesson plans. And the person that threw in at the last minute is did not prepare for that. Thinks he gets to work, and he's got plenty of time to get his lesson plan. And now all of a sudden he's scrambling. So he doesn't put stuff in. He doesn't lock the door, and then the kids do stuff, and then this guy comes back and he's a little bit upset. And so it's one of those where you want to say, hey man, if you should do it right, but at the same time,
You should have left me something.
Because you called off so late,
Right.
I was hurried, and it would have been okay if there was something written down.
Right, somewhere.
So I looked like I'm prepared.
Right. Well, I think what this does is, at least for me, being new teaching at this level, I now realize the benefit of actually having a binder, a large 3-ring binder on my desk that basically has everything in it. So that basically what happens is that you can go through and find out what's actually happening and see how to get to the point where, if I know, if I map out like the whole, even if I map out the whole, if I can map out like 2 weeks ahead and be able to have everything in there on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, if I call off, all you have to do is go to De Silva's binder. His binder's on his desk. Open it to the third day. There's my lesson plan for the day.
And here's one thing too. Because every Wednesday we have to send this test in the lesson plan, if I have to call off an emergency and you take it, you should be emailed that lesson plan for this test. So you just pop up Wednesday, oh, they're doing speedball on Wednesday, so all I need to do is tell the kids they're doing speedball, they jump in their groups and they go.
And they do, right.
So listen, I appreciate you
Oh,
following
no problem. Well, thanks a lot, man.
And
Great
thanks
job.
for helping me out.
Oh, you're
with
welcome.
all
No
the
problem,
stuff.
man. That's
And,
cool.
and when we meet in the cluster meeting next week, let's cover.
Sure, you got it.
Hey,
Thanks
so
a lot.
much.
You got it. Thanks a lot.